Hello guys, I'm gonna record you one of my regular sessions so you can see how I use Breakthrough program, and let me talk about strategy, and if we get some nice spots, let's get deep into those one. Okay, 4 tables. We're gonna start with the 3-bet on table number 1. 6.5, 3-bet on table number 4, 7.5. On table number 2, we are opening. I'm gonna just lower a little bit volume. I think that's okay. Bigger size on this type of the board. I'm gonna fold it a bit on table number 2. We're gonna act like we have 9s and 10s, and I feel like blocking his best or pairs just won't incline us to use the size we would use with 9s and 10s, where uh, there are or pairs that needs the most of the protection. So yep, I would just always bet them with this bigger of the size. And also like the board, even it's a paired low board, and on the paired low board you still want to do to use a bigger size. Usually they say that pair board always prefer 1/3 size. Yep, that's the case, but most of the time that's only case when we have Broadway's paired or ace paired, then yep, 1/3 it is. But here just think about all your hands, like nines, tens, jacks. I don't see what they get from 1/3 size. Basically, they don't get anything, and they need just huge portion of protection, and they want to get the stacks immediately. And so when you have tens and you get raised, you're just gonna shove on them. You just want to get the money immediately, and yeah, big size prefers that spot with the hands that we described. Table number 2, we can call in the multi pot. I would say the bottom calling range is like queen 5, but when the weaker player is queen 5 suited, but when the weaker player is in, you can lose up a little more. And also people play multi-way pots really bad, and yep, you can just take advantage of that. I'm just gonna overbet here in this pot because you have the most 7x hands. It's a multi-way pot, you usually don't want to get big size, but here actually against a weaker player I would prefer to use this size like always, because to get the maximum value out of the weaker player. So that's definitely the case in here. Yep, we're gonna just use the pure fact that we actually have the most 7x here. Maybe the weaker player has also, you see that he is calling around 35% of range. So yeah, maybe we can just compare ourselves to a weaker player, but we also have to take into account that weaker player with the stab of 99 on the turn of the position indicates that he's gonna bet most of his 7x. So then we are basically the one that can only have that 7x, because this player will not check it twice based on his stats and based on his step of the turn. Okay, so now we're gonna go with the tribute again. We're gonna use this size. Let's see this player. Yep, he folds really a lot to a tribute, so nothing else to say there. Table number 2, we are opening. We're gonna cover a few concepts if we have an opportunity in this session. We can talk about basically any spot that comes around, but I think the highest EV are from the multi-way pots and from the block betting, because in today's game that are the spots that people have the least knowledge of. So in block bets they don't know how to respond to it, and in multi-way pots they are struggling with it. We're gonna bet 1/4, which is standard bet, button versus big blind, and here we're gonna call with 4-5 suited in this size. Basically I'm calling all my suited connector and all my pocket pairs, even in these positions against from 2.5 to 7.5. I think that's Okay. Solar actually folds some 4-5 suited and suited connector and called to this size basically all the pocket pairs because you're getting really great odds. So yeah, I'm actually calling all of the suited connectors to have a board coverage, but basically their EV in the vacuum is zero. But if you can play better than your opponents, then actually it can become a plus EV. I'm just gonna donk on this turn, and I would donk hands like fives and fours with the heart, so I don't feel that I'm gonna like bluffs. This is a turn he's gonna frequently check back because his three bet range is around, let's say 8 to 10%. It's actually 7.1. And when we see the hands that he had on ace jack from the samples that we're gonna see. But this turn actually hits us way better because we have 7-8 suited, we had pocket eights, we have 4-5 suited and 9-10 suited, which is a lot of nuts combination that we have, and all the flush draws also. Uh, we're calling here, and this is actually one of the worst cards in the deck because hands like ace queen and ace jack, if he's treating that as a bluff, he can turn them as a bluff raise on the turn as a semi bluff with a blocker. So this is like the one of the worst runouts. And if he's doing something like that, then I would just write this down because now I would just jam or his because this is clearly like really bad play on his end. So if he's doing something like that, I think we just have to punish this strategy because when something is favorizing my turn heavily, he needs to be really defensive with his range, and if he's raising ace king, then definitely he's doing a lot of things wrong. So definitely I will write it down. Here we are faced with a 4-bet, which I think in these positions will be pretty often because we are squeezing against a weaker player. That indicates we're going to use wider range. We're going to see how he responds. We saw that he did 4-bet only queens there, and we see around 14% of the 4-bet our king queen suited is calling absolutely every time, and we're going to be calling it. Board is super good for his range. We don't have deuces, we don't have sixes. Most of the time we have some sixes, but not a lot really in squeezing range. So yeah, we are definitely in range disadvantage here, and we want to play our range in a way we're gonna overfold the flop. So we're gonna include a lot of check raising on the flop as a bluff. Hands like an ace queen comes into the mind with a blocker. King queen, I think it's really too strong to check raise. It is really nice hand as a bluff catcher, and yeah, he looks now like ace king, but we are not folding. And from what he's playing, the way he's playing, he's gonna play the value like this also. Our hand is a clear call, but yeah, he's gonna play the value also. We are just not leaving in this spot ever. So yeah, the way the guy play, he's a weaker player, and yes, I know him really well, and he plays like this, which I mean it's really bad because played like this, he's just gonna get value from the hands actually that that are like my hand, where I can just never fold it, but I would fold to him like king queen normal. I would just easy make an easy fold there. So yeah, we're gonna bet the turn still here. Think this turn is really good for a range. And now here on the river it gets tricky because I feel this guy has a bad check range. And yep, from what I said, I think he's just actually gonna have a lot of hearts now. And when I think about my range, we're gonna have them also, but yeah, let's see which size he wants to be using. Let's see his check fold of the flop. He actually has a high. He actually has high check fold and high. I will actually bluff this because I think that he's like ace queen and ace king is gonna be in a betting range. Yeah, I really nice. I like the bluff that we did actually. Uh, I wanted to see his betting range here. I wanted to see when I see like 70% bet, I know that he's gonna bet ace king and ace queen on this board, and actually that are the hands that I'm afraid most. If he's gonna have hands like this, actually I didn't expect to see like jacks because jacks needs a lot of protection, but I did expect hand like 10x a lot. Uh, the nines are get denser, so he can have nines. So I would say most of the time he's gonna have like eights, but that's like pure bluff catcher here, and we actually have a lot of value there, so I'm not worried. And I think just based on his c-bet frequency, we just have to definitely uh, we are just have to bluff this hand off. And on the river, I'm just thinking about the size that my range wants to use. And actually, when I think about my range, the size that my range wants to use is not an all-in size. Because I think we can easily value bet hand like a king queen with a heart or ace queen with a heart, queen of hearts, king of hearts without any problems. And when I think that you want to value bet like queen of hearts here, and based on our pretty good assumption that he's gonna bet ace queen and ace king with his 70% bet on the board like 10 3 7 with ace king he blocks ace 10 and king 10, and with queen with the ace queen he also has nice blockers. So basically this player will not show up pretty often with a hand like a king of hearts or ace of hearts. He's gonna bet kings and aces on the flop always, and most of the time we're gonna be against hand like eights, which is also uh, gonna have it without the heart. With the heart, it's a straight flush, but he's gonna have it without the heart, and he needs to call it on 1/3 on the turn. Um, he's gonna have hands like 9 10 10 jack queen 10 suited, which will not be a flush on the river. So when I think we actually have a lot of fold equity against these hands, pocket jacks are still bluff catcher to our betting range, but yep, it's much easier call. And I think the play is good. And yeah, like I said, this previous spot is pretty gross spot to me because this guy is just so bad, and I just know that he has. Uh, I put him on ace king, and he had aces, but actually there's like no way we are getting out. There's absolutely no way we can fold. And also his bluffs can have like a combo draw hand, and we also don't block the nut flush draw, which is also really nice because he's gonna have those and these high equity bluffs he can shove. But yeah, I didn't like the spot immediately. Here we're just gonna bet 1/3. We can this I'm using two sizes basically on ace queen 6. I'm using the 130 size of the pot, so 1.3x, and I'm using 1/3, and that are my two like main sizes there. I don't know what actually this means. Uh, I mean, pretty pretty. I don't know how to explain the play. Our range is so much stronger. We have so much stronger ace x. If the turn is a queen and he donks, yep, I can understand that. But when the turn is an ace, our hand is basically we don't have anything. But just based on the range, he's just a bad player. Just a bad player who gets the like good good run in this place with our king queen, because he wouldn't get anything out of me if I didn't have king queen there with a club, because even his like bluffs are pretty high equity, and my king queen is not even happy to see jack 10 of jack 10 of clubs or like ace 5, and well, he's gonna shove ace king and aces because he plays it like this. He just doesn't allow himself to develop bluffing range because basically you want to bluff like ace queen on the flop on the turn and shove it a lot on the rivers, but he doesn't just think about it that way. You want to bluff hand like an ace jack, like an ace 10 off, all of these bluffs pre-flop. So yeah, he just doesn't think about that. Fours, fives, and sixes are three betting in like 30 to 40% in a heads up. So yeah, calling a four bet with pocket fours pretty standard in a heads up game. You call four bet for basically all the pairs. Actually here I'm gonna be calling the flop. Usually in six max it's fold on the flop. In a heads up you're gonna call because a lot of bluffing rangers hand like queen 9 suited, jack 9 suited, ace 10 off, ace jack off, some of the queen jack off. So yeah, I'm gonna fold it on turn. And yes, I think his also double barrels are pretty tight. So yeah, block bet here, and we're gonna bet 1/3 with a lot of range there. We're gonna continue betting. We're gonna continue betting with all our overpairs. So yeah, just a clear bet. We're gonna call. We did turn down the size, which I think it's reasonable because I'm betting like 5, 6s, 7s, 8s, 9, all of these hands. And I'm not sure what he reps anymore actually. Because he would bet 10x with bigger size, I would say. Here on the turn, let's see. I think we want to bet actually with our ace jack. We really want to bet with the ace jack and a flush draw. Definitely, so yep. 4-6 is a fold. Ace 3 is a 3 bet actually. Big blind versus cutoff. We are mixing all the suited aces as like 25 to 30% of the 3 bet when we are polarized and we use polarized range, big blind versus any position basically. Yep, on the river the guy actually reps what he bet. I didn't think he has aces, but I think he bet like a queen jack that bluff raised the turn for whatever reason he used because he's not repping 10x. He's basically repping a queen because I just can put him on aces, but hand like on the river betting size with weaker players is most of the time identifying with the strength of their own hand, and I would say that this is the size that they used for queen. Okay. Actually, here I'm gonna go with the block. I think our range wants to be block betting frequently, so hands like threes, hands like 4x, hands like pocket fives, I think they all want to be block betting, so we're just gonna be block betting the river. Here we want to use bigger size. We're gonna use 82% on 238. I think that's fine. Our river bet is with our hand, and when we think just about our range, how our range looks like. Our range looks like a lot of when we bet step the turn like this. We don't have sevens, we don't have eights. We are three betting all of them, so we don't have these hands at all. And when you think about the range that we are stepping pocket threes, we are stepping pocket fours, we are stepping 4x for value, and yeah, definitely our hand. Our range actually wants to be block betting because still 4x can get value. He actually calls with a king high, so three pocket threes are still getting ton of value and all of these hands. So yeah, our range just wants to be block betting the river, and I'm just gonna put these hands also there. I think it's reasonable to do it. Table number 2, we're just gonna be betting here. The guy again steps. We have a clear call. He can uh, the weaker player turn down the size, which can tell me that he can bet even hand like a 9x or 7-8. So yeah, we have a clear call. He can also include some really strong hands in the range because weaker players tend to do it. On the river, we are just basically always calling. We don't block any bluffs. We don't block like queen jack at all. So yeah, we're just gonna be calling the river for sure always. And here on the table number one, we're gonna actually go with 6.6 with our ace jack, which is I think the best size with our hand, and we're gonna overbet most of the turns actually. Yeah, pretty unfortunate, few unfortunate hands, but that will not discourage us. We want to go strong because this hand, what happened, yeah, it sucks when it's like against a really weak player, but then he just has it. But it happens, you know. You just need to take that into account in future occasions. For example, when we play like this in future, actually, I think we want to be checking the river also there with our pocket fives. You just have to take it in the future situations because it will save you the money in future. Because in this hand, actually, you just can't save anything. You're just gonna be broke, gonna go broke because just when you think about our range in calling a four bet and where we actually need to shove a lot of aces pre and all of the kings pre, we are actually really and a lot of ace king. We are actually pretty capped, and our king queen here is like one of the best hands we're gonna all have because just think about all of the eights, nines, sevens, tens, jacks that we're gonna have. So yeah, definitely a spot where we are top of the range. Small numbers is early. Let's see. I see here like 6%, which is low. I would say it has to be around 7 to 8 at least. So I would say it starts with nines plus ace king, ace queen, and suited broadways most of the time. Some suited aces like ace 4, ace 5. So, and if he is including suited connectors, which I'm not sure that he actually does, and this board actually crush our range. We are calling like fives, sixes plus. Yep, and I would just be stabbing a lot here. We're gonna call that, and we're gonna go big polarized size there. Big size here, and big size there. Actually, I think stabbing the turn is normal in this spot. Check faults on the turn is pretty high. But on this flop, I think he recognizes. Yep. We block aces, which is really nice. Yeah, now we just have to be shoving it. Yeah, there's no other way around. Our bluff's actually good there, and ace jack is always a shove. So we're just gonna take a little time. I'm just afraid of tens most of the time because I think he's not gonna have kings and queens very often. So yeah, we're just gonna be jamming on this run out. Because basically we have 7-8 suited, we have sixes, we have nines, we have tens, we have all the king jack as a bluff. We don't block clubs. There is no way we can just not bluff this. Let's see this guy. I mean, even aces are in trouble here, I would say. So I really like the play, and it works well. Folding. Let me just see. My microphone is a little stuck in, but okay. I want to see what happened there. Okay, here's big size, okay. When I see the guys checking this board, so he always has a showdownable hand, he would bluff all his bluffs there. I'm gonna go small. Yeah, okay. let's get back into this hand. Let me see it again. I want to say, uh, check this multi. I want to say that like kings would be a slam dunk call, but I don't think that people have kings actually here ever. Just based on what pool is playing, they would just bet kings or check raise them, and most of the queens also. We block jacks, which can check call like, and on the river they're okay, but people will not call over bet shove with them most of the times. So yep. Actually, I also think his range lacks over pairs in this spot when we bet 1/3. I even feel that based on the hot stats and from what I know, he would just check raise, queens always. He can slow play aces, I think, without problems, and they should be slow played in this position. So he can have them, and we block the aces. We don't block any clubs, which is nice. And yep, because like ace king and ace queen of clubs are actually not that great of the bluff catcher. I mean, ace king is is going to be always folded on the river, and ace queen is going to be folded from most of the times when we orbit shove there. And our range is actually that strong that we can just shove the river. When we think about our range, we have all the sets. We have all the we have 9-10 suited, and we have all the king jack suited that he doesn't have, because nobody will play jack suited like this, king jack suited like this. Maybe clubs, but even people with like this combo draw would never check call. Even solver does it. Uh, I think people would just be like jamming it. So yep, I think this play is nice. Okay, let's see here. I'm gonna check. Let's see the guy check flop. Here we can see his check behind flop range when he's check behind small ace when he three bet ace 4 in position. So yep. So weak check range. I think I made mistake there. I think it's a clear stab on the turn with deuces. I'm not gonna call it now, but yeah, this was actually this is a big mistake for me. His check range is really bad. His betting range on most boards, and yeah, this is like a big mistake because actually we now lost a pot we should won. My mistake. 4-9 suited. I'm just gonna be opening 3 max. So yeah. King 10 is a clear call, and king, and here this guy can just turn into bluff without problems. He's stabbing river aggressively, and if he can just turn bluffs through threes, pocket fours. So we're actually always calling this and folding there. And this guy just overbets in all the wrong spots. I mean, it's pretty clear. You see, like why you overbet there? I have ace 4. I have 4-6 suited. I mean, you're not gonna have advantage on this card, and I also have pocket trees. Um, so there is no like sense ever to be to be overbetting there. So she just doesn't recognize the spots to be overbetting up. We want to delay here for sure. On ace queen 3 in heads up, I tend to be a little more polarized. Yep, and on the turn, I'm gonna bet 2/3. We're gonna have a bunch of ace x that we're gonna check also. We're gonna check queens and aces and kings always. So yep, we have just a clear delay C bet. There's a bluff. Um, what I was trying to say. Yep. So the guy is over betting there when we actually both have the turn bring us the both the same range, so nobody's favorite there, and he used orbit size, and orbit is using on mainly on bricks or on the turn that heavily favors the orbit range, and the turn is not the brick, and the turn is not favorizing the orbiter. So yeah, I mean, he just goes overbet in that spot. When he has a hand, he just goes overbet. He doesn't even think about his range at all. He just goes in overbet like that. That's what I have noticed from him, and yeah, I think that's like really bad way of playing because you're not playing the range. Actually, you're just playing the cards, and that's usually not a way to go in poker because range gives you money always and cards gives you money only when you run good, and that's the point. You always want to play a range, always. Okay, a few really interesting hand happen. Yep, I hope we will get this type of the hand till the end of session, because when you got interesting hand, and I always, when I have some interesting hand, I always write it down just to not forget about it, to not get a close look into it in the solver. Let's see this guy, what is he doing? Usually this hand is always called, and I would say that maybe now it can be folded because this is like a weaker player, and usually when they are 4 betting they lack bluffs, and especially when they're using this big of the size. So actually I'm gonna fold the hand against this guy, the hand that is never fold in GTA world. I'm just gonna write down today's date, and I'm just gonna write the hands. If the interesting hand happen or the hand that I'm not sure about and I want to check it in the solver and just see, like, if I'm interested in any part of the hand, I usually write it down just to see like what I should have done and what I need to in the future look in these spots. Until now, there's no hand that happened like that, but if it's happened, and usually it happens always, a couple of them, or so you're gonna always be in some spot you want to be sure. So yeah. King Queen 8 to tone, usually we can go here like 82%, and we can go, I would mainly go big or check, and I'm gonna do that also now. We are calling turn because actually he's wrapping a straight. Let me see. I'm gonna shove here because I know, and yeah, we had a clear call, but I decided to shove it because from what he usually played, he would just even be overbetting the flush always in this spot. But he actually thinks that I'm lacking the. You see, like he's overbetting the turn with 5-7 of hearts. So he just want to fold, and he's overbetting the turn without blockers, without anything. Yeah, and now suddenly it gets perfect for him. But I mean, I've called the turn because I knew I'm ahead, and that's the way he plays. But when he used this size, he actually tricked me. But because the usually way he plays, he would overbet the river also. But he actually is afraid in this spot that I'm not gonna have a lot of straights, I think. So that was a trap. And yeah, and he also bet folds really really a lot. His bet folding is really, so I know that on the river I can just take him off out of the split. That's why I shout. But yeah, it felt it suddenly played perfect for him. But you see what he's doing. He's like or betting the turn with 5-7 without any sense. I mean, what is your orbit range on this turn? You don't have any set in the range. You don't. You're lacking two pairs, and I mean you don't have you're three betting in these positions a lot of ace queens, and yeah, you don't have any set in the range in your orbit, and yeah, I can have also straight in the checking range. So yeah, I just don't understand the play. The play is just I have a flush draw and I'm overbet so you can fold some hands. Yep, and sometimes it works out for him. But I would want him to see a blank and what you're gonna do with your 5-7 of hearts. I just want to see that, and unfortunately we're not gonna see it. Check back here with our lowest queen. I think it's fine. We need to check. We're gonna have a lot of 6x's, a lot of pocket fives that we're not gonna bluff on these runoffs, so we're gonna just check them back a lot. So checking the queen 5 is actually really nice because now we have like an easy call without any problems of our range. So yep, I'm really frustrated that it just goes his way and like this. I mean, and it turns perfect. And my reasoning is like really good in this spot. Why I'm shoving the queen there because actually I'm gonna this guy will fold to shove. He's gonna fold the queen x. He's gonna fold the jack x on the shove. And like he's always in these spots when he thinks that I have a hand, he will always sorbet the river, always. But the problem is here that he's not seeing me that I have a straight very often, and I didn't think about it, because usually what type of straight we're gonna have when when the turn is over, but they didn't see bet the flop, you know. That's the problem there. You see, because pocket jacks generally won't be calling because you block the bluffing range there. So yeah, you're gonna. It's tough for me actually to have because ace jack is actually betting a flop. So it's really hard for us to have a jack here, and I didn't think about it. And that's why because I usually know in these spots he's not looking at the range, but he feels here probably that I'm not gonna have, which is, I mean, truth he did over by the turn. We're not gonna have bunch of straights, and when it's like this, he used this size just to get paid from hand like an ace sex probably, and he see me as a player that will not be folding that much. So yep, checking the 10 deuce 8, which I think it's fine. And size that we want to use is, I would say, a lot of actually orbits on the turn. So yep, I'm gonna fold pocket fives here because I don't know the guy. I'm still mad that it went so perfect for him, and yeah, but actually it's really good for us. Spot that is really good for us because when you can fold somebody from the chop, and this guy is folding to river raise insane amount of the time, and when the backdoor flush gets there, we can just wrap it really good, and he would give credit there, but actually he had a flush, which is really unfortunate. That's like when you're greedy. So I was greedy and I got punished, but my reasoning was okay. So yep, I'm not mad about that. Big blind versus button. Usually you're gonna forbet some of this, and actually I'm gonna forbet it now. I'm gonna use like this 28.5, 28 is okay. King 9, Queen 9, Jack 9 suited, Ace 10 off, Ace Jack off. These are the hands we won't be using as our four-bet bluffs. Some of the king jack off also, yeah, stuff like that. And now we're gonna go 20%, which is standard in this spot. So 11.2 is okay. We have the new table where we can go, and we can get to know Downhillian, because he's also on that table, which is really good, because he's not familiar. I didn't play with him very much, so definitely it will help us to get the sample there. Three betting again, king nine suited, which is three bet always, and I'm gonna fold to call four bet from this guy. I would defend king 10 suited. Okay, let's go to the Hydra. Let's go to the Hydra, and we have the Downhillian there, and we can get the sample from him. So that's also nice. Okay. So the guys, my reasoning was good. I think. Yeah. But unfortunately, yeah, he sometimes it happens like this. And when I actually try to say he's not gonna have a flush with this size, yep. If the turn was like three of hearts, for example, he would just like orbit shove against me, and I know that because it happened a lot of times, and that's like the way he plays. Okay, but yeah, here he was just afraid that I just don't have the straights to call him off, so that's why he used this size, and it felt perfect. But it happens. We're gonna get this back. Yeah, we're gonna get that back. Checking. He should be betting most of the range on the flop. And usually when they have a c-bet 67% out of position and check ace to 7, something is wrong. Something is not good there. So yeah. I should be also backing ace 10 off with my pocket sixes, and I didn't, which is also a mistake. I was in that hand. I was thinking about the previous hand, so yeah, my mistake. And I'm gonna fold sixes to this big bet on the turn. It has bad blockers, bad playability. We can just lose the hand when if the tens hits or raise, and donking on the river in these hands. Yeah, we can maybe do on the 10x. On the ace, do we want to do it if he has like counterfeited two pair? So if the ace hits, basically he can even have it. I want to say like a counterfeited two pair, I mean like a deuces or threes or fours. But I don't think he can have these hands. If he wants to bluff with them, he would bluff the probably flop, I feel. So I don't think he's just gonna delay bet them 2/3 on the turn, or like 80%. So if he has that counterfeited two pair, like deuces to sevens, and sevens beats us here. So if we're talking hypothetical situation, if the ace hits on the river and he has this counterfeited two pair, what's he gonna do? And yeah, so I'm just thinking, if I'm calling here sixes, and I'm thinking basically he's gonna bluff what as a check back line and bluff turn, because hands like jack 9, queen 9, 7 9, I think they would bluff the flop most of the times. That player do that most of the time. So yep, if he put it into delay line, but when he used this size, I'm confused. I basically think he's repping like a good ace or trips. So yeah, if the ace hits and I'm going to lead, I'm not sure what I would actually rep in his eyes. So I decided to fold on the turn, but that was a mistake because I didn't bet the flop. I was thinking still in my head about that hand. And yeah, when I think about the hands that were passed, the hands that are gone, usually it's not good. We always need to think in future. What happened? But it happened. We just can't change it anymore. So yeah, definitely a mistake I made, and I'm just gonna try to not happening it again. So that's the best we can do here. King 10 against 3 bet 5 max. Actually, he 3 bets around 20%, which I think can be a 4 bet bluff or call against 20%. Also 5 max. What is fold to what is like close to a 6 max against 20%? I think it becomes in a 5 max actually a slam dunk call. So we can call or 4 bet bluff even, I think, against 20%. Against 15% of range, King Jack off is 40% 4 bet bluff. So against 20%, I would say that King 10 off is then around 30 to 40 or so, 5 max. So yeah, we could do it as a 4 bet bluff. And I feel like it's working maybe better as a 4 bet bluff than as a call. But I think against 20%, basically he's gonna have also King 8 suited, Queen 8 suited there, Jack 9 suited, 8 10 suited, 7 9 suited, so all suited collector. I think King 10 is still worth of money, so we could play the hand. We're folding there. 3 betting here. Just to give you my color labels of to know what it means. This means reg. Blue is weak reg. Green is a weaker player. Yellow or orange. Yellow actually is a recreational player, and orange is a nit. So we have them covered. And we also have a really good reg, which is purple. So purple will be like really good reg. And we have also the new table here. Okay, maybe this one will not break. I usually don't like to change tables. If it's not gonna break, and I think maybe here actually it's not gonna be breaking, so I will not be changing it. Now here definitely won't break because the new player is here, and I don't know the guy. Let's see what down Hillian has. I want to know also. I didn't have one showdown against the guy, so yep, just to have a better feeling for him. Here we are against, this is a call range, big blind versus small blind, and this is 3-bet range. So when we put this together is 66% of range, that is calling or 3-betting. So 66% of range will have hands like a queen 7 off, hands like jack 7 off plus king 4 off plus hands like 6-8 off. He checks behind. Let's see what is he actually checking. We have on the HUD to see his checking range, a lot of trash, ace x hands. Okay, but he's also stabbing a lot as a trash here. So hand like a 7-9 he would stab, hand like a 5-7 also, and into this line. Did we saw a top pairs? I want to know. Check flop. Do we see a top pairs? Low pair, middle pair. We saw some top pairs. Has like a queen 10, queen 9, 9 10, 7 9. I think he would stab all of those ones. So I don't see many bluffs that will leave here. Even hands like 4 5 will be betting probably, and yeah, check, check, bet turn, check, check, bet turn, fold versus check raise, gut shot. You see he has also 6-9 off in the range. It's a close spot. We're gonna check this board a lot because this player will have jack 8 off always in the range. We're not gonna have it. He's gonna have 6-8 off. We're not gonna have it. So he has 2-pair advantage on us. So we're not gonna be betting the range in this spot. Actually, we're gonna do a lot of checking here. King 3 doesn't fit into betting range ever. Doesn't fit in the check raising range, and on the turn actually uh, it's like not good, not low enough to bluff, not good enough to check call, so it's somewhere in between. And yeah, I just gave up with it, which I think it's fine with that hand. This guy is also in this sample he's winning, but actually he's not a winning player. All the guys that are marked like this are weak, and all the red guys are winning players. So yep. Anarchy is one of the really good players. We have him on the two tables, and that's like rare, rare on stars that we have really good players on this limit. We're just calling there with a 4-bet, and here small blind versus early. This guy is 12%, which is really a lot. We're gonna use a 4-bet. We're gonna go with a call there. Let's see Anarchy's range. We're gonna go to this pop-up. So he 4-bets around 4.6, and this size doesn't have a lot of sense. This size doesn't have a lot of sense. I would use 1/5 size on king 5-6. We're calling because I still feel we have to defend a lot of with calls. So yep. We are calling jack 10 suited. The size is weird, I think. It's favorizing his range heavily. So yeah, I think he should be betting small, not big. And I think on the turn, yep, you just want to be betting small. Here I think his size is good. You can go 1/3, you can go half, you can go 2/3. He has around 8% of range. We see ace-5 suited and ace-king. So 8% would be like 9s, maybe even 8s plus. Actually, this is really bad run out. Ace-queen and ace-king got there. And we're now losing from it. We are only winning against hand like queen 10 and pocket 8s. And I don't think Anarchy would ever bet like ace-5 of hearts on this turn. And ace king is checking for sure the river. Ace queen is shoving no matter what. We are basically only beating pocket eights here. That's basically it. I mean, he's capable of bluffing given this, but he was gonna bluff pocket eights for sure. But I don't see what he's gonna bluff more than that. Pocket eights, queen 10 is got also got there on the river. Maybe hand like ace 10 turn into bluff, but I don't think he's double barreling that. Yeah, pretty sick spot, I would say. When you think about our range, how it looks like, we need to start out of that. We have hands like have basically all the pocket pairs pre. To this, I would like fold deuces and threes because it's little more than 7.5, it's 7.7, maybe deuces and three you can fold, but I'm still having fours plus. On this size, we can fold some of these pocket pairs. We're not folding sevens and eights ever. On the turn is tricky with these hands, really a lot. He's still gonna have ace queen and ace kings, and he's gonna barrel them on the turn because his range has also jacks. He has all the queens, kings, and aces. We are 4-betting a lot of queens. We are 4-betting also some of jacks because his 3-bet is 8.5 now, so at least some of the jacks will be 4-betted around maybe 20 to 30% to that percentage. Yep. Our range seems we have king queen, but only suited, and some of king queen will actually check raise the flop also. Uh, I would mostly call with jacks. That's good. So I have the jacks that I don't 4-bet, and in this spot, I would rarely 4-bet it. So yeah, I have jacks. I have pocket tens always. I have king queen of hearts. We have the ace queen here also. Ace queen of clubs. Let's see the size that he uses. Ace queen of clubs we have always. I think some of the ace queen like of hearts will be folding some of it. Actually, really interesting spot when I think about my range up. Really interesting spot because we will have trouble reach the minimum defense frequency. Actually, we need to call. Okay, with the back, what with the backdoor flush do we have it? We have ace 10 and queen 10. Yep, it's gonna hard to be reach the minimum defense frequency actually. We lack strong hands. We need to slow play a lot on the flop, so we need to always call tens, always call jacks, which I would actually be always calling. So yep, we have jacks, we have tens, we have ace queen of clubs, we have queen 10 of clubs, some ace queen of hearts. Actually, yeah, hard to get this defense, but it's okay on some boards to just not be defending that much. Because I'm gonna fold this because this guy is short. Because on some boards actually they're gonna also like bluffs and your defense frequency will not be doesn't need to be that high. And this is also super weird spot. I'm gonna call there. His bluffs now would be jacks and hand like a 10 jack suited and a queen 10 suited, and he's gonna always bet ace queen, which kind of sucks. And if he checks, I think we need to turn it into bluff then. I'm gonna fold there. We can fold the turn. We can fold the turn there, actually. But his three betting is small numbers is early, around 10%. So that would be like 8 plus. Yeah, but he has the maybe even some ace jacks mixed in. I'm not sure here. I mean, even like ace jack, I think ace jack should be like checking always, and definitely not shoving the river. But here you see he's double barrel. I should look at the HUD. Yeah, I just should look at the HUD there. You see this, his turn bet is low and his check call on the turn is high, which means he's gonna have on the turn some strong hands. So I wouldn't. He's definitely not not. He's definitely not betting ace jack here. He would always check the ace jack, and I think even ace queen would be checking a lot. So he's more polarized, but he's just not barreling enough. So I don't think this guy would bet with the jacks at all, or hand like eights and nines, which on the river like eights has to be bluffed and jacks has to be bluffed always. But yeah, this was also a mistake. I just should have looked at the HUD immediately and just fold the turn. Yeah. This was mistake. You see, a lot of cool spots today. A lot of cool spot, but that happens to me sometimes when for example one hand is in my head and now suddenly the hand with anarchy was really interesting. It just consumed my mind. It's just consuming my mind, and I'm just thinking about that head, and like everything else goes out. um, I'm just thinking, wow, what I'm calling on that river and what I'm getting to that river with, and I see actually I'm not meeting the right defense frequency, and I thinking myself, is that okay? And I feel okay, it is okay, because in some spots we actually just can't be defending the right amount, but that's okay. It's okay because yeah, it was just a spot that our range will struggle, and yeah, we just need to we just need to accept it. Here we're going to use big size with our hand. Definitely we're going to use big size. We are big blind versus cutoff, so we're going to have a lot of 9x hands like jack 9, queen 9, king 9. So actually I'm just going to go with the 2/3. I'm not going to actually go with the 82%. Think this is a 2/3 spot because now we want to bet jack 10, queen 9, king 9. You want to bet over pairs. So if you have one size at the field, 2/3 is definitely the best to go. For example, if we are small blind versus button, I'm actually going 82%. So yeah. Polarized range for the big blind is nice. I always advise it because by being polar, you actually increase fold equity. Your value hands get more value, and you still have a strong calling range, guys. You have a really strong hands like an ace queen off calling big blind versus cutoff. Hands like an ace jack, like a king queen. So you have a lot of good Broadway hands, and that's really important from button actually, because on the button, if you're not gonna have these hands, if you're not gonna ever have an ace jack or king queen, you're not gonna ever have a straight on a Broadway runouts, and observative opponent can just take that into account and just really lightly overbet shove against you. He can just thin overbet shove with a two pair or set, and he can massively overbluff you. So definitely it's hard to not have these strong hands into a call range. And if you're using polarized range, actually, you're gonna have all these hands, and still your biggest hands will get value because you are mixing in the bluffs, and these bluffs will be hand like a king 4, like king 5 suited, king 7, queen 9, jack 8 suited, all of these sort of hands. and actually that will be really good. Call 4 here. We can shove, we can call. I want to see what he's doing in the 4-bet pots. Yeah, I'm just gonna shove. We're gonna be called easy. So yeah, we're gonna be called easy. We're gonna be called lightly. So yeah, I think it's okay. And I see a mergy call for. Checking there. Again, spot where he should be betting a bunch on the flop. Yeah, really weird. Just gonna fold against this guy. Whenever guys they are betting when they're checking in a spot, they're gonna bluff all the bluffs. Actually, they're gonna just have they're just gonna be really value heavy. So yeah, I think it's nice just to then uh, just fall to them. Yeah, we're just gonna go with an orbit on the turn, and the river's not that great. He's gonna have hands like 9-10, hands like a king 10, which we actually block, but ace 10 will be still here. And now we're like his two pairs have full house. So I'm just gonna give up a bit here. I would shove probably on like any run out except this. I wouldn't shove like on 10 jack or queen, but everything else I would be just jamming. But this is like the worst one because a lot of hands like ace 10 can just call because it's block ace king, and it's also it's also in front of our bluffing range and has a good blockers there. Here usually a lot of checking will be going on. Let's see his step turn check back. I'm against him. I would just go betting 1/3 against this type of player. I still want to bet kings. And they need protection. I still want to bet kings. I still want to bet hand like a king queen or ace queen. So yep. I'm gonna check the river. Again, not the greatest river. Uh, but I think it's fine. You see, he didn't bluff with the king jack there. You see why it's important to bet kings there. You see, like kings with the kings of hearts, king of spade there. You see, you still get the value and you still get protection, and yep. And I see people just go with the checks in this spot a lot when actually it's not that great of the spot to be checking. Because really, when you think small blind versus button, you have bunch of queen x hands. Why? I mean, you still have hands that needs protection. So you're only like jacks and like nines and tens are the hand that benefit from checking, but against the passive people, and this is his step of the turn in position, against the passive guys, uh, I don't want to check kings. I don't want to check any queen x hands because they will be just not stabbing enough and bluffing the river to just justify a slow play against them. So yep, no, I'm just gonna go against this type of guys. I'm just gonna go with a bet on the turn with 1/3 size that I can still be a lot of betting my hands like kings, but definitely then it's better that than check. You want to check basically you want to be against strong opponents that are gonna attack kept ranges. Yeah, we're gonna also we're gonna defend and we're gonna protect our checking range, because here basically hands like aces wants to be checking all the time, and by playing like this, uh, if you're having a big betting range, then your capped range will be in trouble. You're gonna be in trouble with tens, jacks, and aces. But if you are against a capable opponent, then I agree. But if you're against a passive guy, he's just not gonna be. He didn't bluff a king x there, you know. He doesn't have absolute showdown with the king, and he didn't bluff it with a blocker. So yeah, you're just not gonna to incentivize us to be slow playing. We just need to know that our capped range can be attacked, and it can be in danger against these opponents. So against this type of guy, I agree. I would be definitely against a tough opponent. I would definitely then be defending my range more and checking more in these spots, and slow played with some queen x hands, slow played with some nut flush hands. But against this guy, no, yeah, pretty great turn for our bluffs. So yeah, we're gonna be betting the turn here and turning our 7 into a bluff, which I think it's fine. And actually now it's even better, because now we can just go with an overbet here, and we're gonna have bunch of hands like a jack x that actually bluffed. So yeah, I would just even go more here like this. So I don't see a hand that's gonna check call there, and suddenly it happens. I don't see a hand that's check calling small blind versus big blind a jack x on the flop and on the turn, with the size that we use, and the jack 8 off. The guy was opening 40% and he has jack 8 off, which is insane. There is no jack x. Jack 7 is not in the range. Jack 6 not in the range. Yeah, just a shitty spot. Here he will have jack in 1% of time, and this is that 1% when I'm trying to show you a session. Yeah, he's just not gonna have it. Yep, that's the really, I mean, really unfortunate. And actually now it was fantastic spot on the river. Really fantastic. And I was really happy actually. I was happy on the river. So yep. Let's see his pet turn there. Step turn. I mean, here we can just actually check. I'm just gonna go now with an orbit. Let's see his checking range. Okay, seems weak. And he should be bet range on this spot, basically. And he bets range on most of the spots, so actually surprised that he didn't bet range. We are lacking one card, high card, so we are not calling ace jack UTG against the button of. We are not calling ace queen. Very often we are actually very often four betting as a bluff. We have some ace kings, so he has more of ace x and a king x of diamonds on the river, so actually that's the reason why I'm checking the river frequently in this pose, because my range lacks nuts hands, and actually I'm just gonna be checking a lot. King 8 is mixing. Called for. We saw tens, we saw ace jack suited, ace king suited. Our hand is calling, sometimes folding. I want them to have more hands like an ace jack and the king queen than pocket nines, tens, you know. Definitely better for us, better for our hand, regards of the equity. Let's see a bet check bet there. He didn't bet check bet ever. I'm just gonna be folding this against this type of guy. Definitely some hands going into the, I don't know even know how to say. I mean, I'm pretty like surprised to see a jack there. Yeah, realistically he can have ace jack of clubs there, maybe king jack of clubs. But from what I see, like when they have that king jack of clubs, uh, they would mainly check raise as a bluff because actually, what showdown value will they have? Even like with the ace jack of clubs. I mean, it's better, of course, to have an ace jack because, but like king jack of clubs, maybe an ace jack of clubs, and basically that's it. Jack 8 of clubs, okay, that I can admit. Jack 8 of clubs is definitely there. So that's like a three combination that he's gonna have. And Jack 8 off with 40% opening, he just suddenly, I mean, we are okay, we are 3 max, maybe that's the reason for it. I didn't take that into account. But still, it's pretty sick because we're gonna have like a monster amount of Jack X hands actually, and we're gonna also have a Queen Jack really often. Yep, so definitely insane spot. I'm stabbing Queen Jack always, and on the turn actually our bluffs are most of Jack X hands. Hand like a Jack 5, Queen Jack, Jack 6. All of these hands will be betting. I would turn into bluff maybe even hand like a Jack 7, and I have a Jack 7 off. So we have a bunch of them actually. We have Jack 4 suited also, so yeah, definitely a lot of Jack X that we're gonna have, and I just gave him realistically three combination of Jack X that he's gonna have, and now he actually has it. Yep, unfortunately, it happens. We're gonna be betting there. We're gonna be shoving here. Call 4 bet 4%. King Queen we see and shove a lot. 2/3 here. We survive the flip. We have clear call there. Don't know what the guy did try here. We have a clear call shove there. He gets there on the river. 2-3-8, we're gonna do really a lot of checking. So yep, we're gonna check. We're gonna check again. This is his check fold line. So he's gonna fold a lot of overcards. So if we're having here hand like a queen 10, what we would do, we would bet it. And what size we would be using? I think we would use an orbit size. So I'll use with my pocket tens an orbit size here. And let's immediately go to see what the guy is checking behind here. Pocket 5. King Jack on Queen 7 6. Okay. he c-bets and it's 73% usually. And I will tell you like this: when they are checking ace queen 5, and they're always having a showdownable hand, so because the bluffs will be bluffing, so I'm just thinking, figure out, do my hand is worth of be betting? And yeah, I would just go with this size so we can get called. And I would put some ace x, of course, just to be protected. I would be actually jamming this hand. Because he's kept to a weak ace x here. And we have the deuces, we have the fives, we have the ace 5. I actually have an ace queen, which I'm going to put always in this size. And I think this guy will actually fold this hand on the river. So he's not, I know that he folds a bunch to a river. And this is like really under bluff spot. So yep, I'm just going to turn this into bluff. And we get called by kings. No credit for us, but I really like the play because, I mean, who will bluff here except us? I mean, who will he ever be? I mean, he raised there and we showed on his bigger size, and yep, we get called by this. But I would do this a lot because my range on the river just likes that block bet really a lot. You know, we have king queen, we have queen jack, we have the low ace x hand, and we are in that line of the double check. So we have most of queen x, I would say much more of the queen x hand that we actually do ace x hand. So all the lower ace x hand, all the lower ace x hand, calling the ace queen, all the lower ace x hand, but we have like queen jack off, we have queen 10 off, we have king queen off, and we are in the spot of the double check. So when we think about our range of mostly consists out of queen x on the river. And I think queen x is still good when it's double checked, like a king queen hand or in queen jack is still good because he's gonna have eights, nines, tens, jacks. He's gonna have hand like a weaker queen x, that is, if he's using, for example, polarized range, he's gonna have hand like a queen 5, queen 4 suited. So definitely you can get value from eights, nines, tens, all of these hands by with our queen jack and king queen. And I feel that just blocking river range has the most sense because we have all of these strong queens and we have some of the weak aces. And I would always put in this range hand like a deuces because I would expect the delay bet, so I would check a lot of with deuces. And hand like an ace queen when you block ace x hand and queen x hands. And yep, I would always put like ace queen there and like a really weak ace like ace 3. And when he raises here, we actually have deuces, we have ace queen, and I think what bluff I want to use, I have to turn like some queen x into bluff, and I feel like this is fairly nice. King queen is actually better, but yeah, it's not that bad. Against 22, we're just gonna be 4-bet getting it in. The guy 3-bets us 22% of time. And yep, in this line, when we block bet and he raises a nice shove, he's gonna see a bluff only from me in all of the pool, and he just calls with the kings. And his top of the range there will be like a weak ace, and yep, and he can still raise value. He can still raise value like with the king queen there and pocket kings, but like top of his range is like a low ace x. And when he raises against that low of the ace x, I mean, I have to turn into bluff something, and I felt in this spot it's a nice spot because also I know the guy that he's like really, really overfolding to rivers. Let's see, yeah, so he's always folding to rivers, especially like when it's big size in game, and he also, I mean, he doesn't know how we use block bet also because I use block bets really, really frequently, and I put a lot of value there. Yep, so still really interesting hand. A really, really interesting hand. 7-8. It's not that bad as a bet, but I would prefer like a 9-10 when I bluff without absolutely nothing. Like 9-10 of hearts would be better. And also when you click like queen, a king, you have also really nice bluff on the river, and you block like ace-9 and ace-10 with 7-8. Let's see, after he checks turn, how much this is the fold versus river bet. After check turn, he actually folds a lot. So, yeah, I'm just gonna think what I'm gonna use the size, and I'm just gonna go with the block again because now I'm just gonna like blocking queens, kings, and hand like queen jack and king jack. So block bet has the most sense in my opinion, and we put our hand like this into that range. So yep, really interesting hand. Yep, and his call, I think, against the pool, he's losing every time. Against me, he's winning every time, and yep, then that goes equally the same. But yeah, I still like the play. I still like the play because my range actually really wants to block by the river, and yeah, and we were still gonna have nuts. So if I'm my like my biggest hand that I'm gonna like shove there is like ace queen and deuces. And when you think about our bluffs, then our bluffs needs to also include that queen. And I feel like queen jack is there, queen jack there, queen jack there. It's nice. It's maybe better to have a king queen still. I think we just have to call there actually. Raising there doesn't have much sense because we don't have ace jack. We are tributing all the ace jacks there, so we don't have it. And jack 9 suited distributing, and actually jack 9 off is distributing quite some. So yeah, we just don't have it. We just don't have it. So we just need to play passive from our range. The guy just bet folds a fucking bunch, and you see, this is like insane how much he decided to call there. Yep. Another block bet spot. This is just unlucky how the things are going. Yeah. You remember that shove with the queen jack where I knew the guy is folding uh, of a chop, and he gets the flush, and then the guy has jack 8, which is fucking sick also. And now we're called with kings in a line that nobody's ever bluffing. Sometimes it is like that. But the good news is we actually when we're gonna have hands, we're just gonna be incredibly easy to pay our value hands because we're actually gonna do a lot of things like this, but still I think it's all good. Against this size I'm gonna be folding. Against normal size I would probably call. 5-7 for max is defend. Against normal size, I mean in a small blind you need to bet like a normal 3-bet size. In a big blind you're polarized. That's why you use a big size, but in small blind you're linear merged, and there's no sense to be using this size at all. So all of these guys are like titties nitties, all of this. And I really like when I have a hand and shove them like 7x pot. That's like the things that I like really like to do. Because no matter what run I'm gonna have against them, I'm just gonna keep crushing them. Because their ranges is breaking, and I mean, okay, they're gonna call me lighter than any other opponent, but that's good, guys, because our value hands will get all the money we lost on our bluffs because they need to call. They just feel like they need to call us with even hands that are actually fault. So that's fine. I'm still gonna continue bluffing them because in many spots the range will still be breaking, and yep, we can just take that advantage. And people always ask me how you got that red line, how is like that, how is that. You just have it when you break the ranges. That's the only way you can get a really high line, high red line. Only way you can get it by breaking the ranges. And to be able to do it, you just have to be having a lot of bluffs because you're not going to have many value hands always, and you're going to always have value. Actually, you need to play your range in many spots. And when you see like people that are calling you lightly, okay, I'm always keeping that in mind. Actually, against this player, I will actually be checking. We have here like 9, 10s, jacks and queens that we actually not gonna be bet. So yeah, we're just gonna protect these hands by checking our ace jack. And all of these hands now they're not gonna shove for sure. So yeah, they will be just calling. I would call like queens here, blocking ace queen, and yep. He didn't bluff the river. What is this line? 3 checks, 2 time checks, and the river goes in orbit. Like, what is he rapping? Like deuces. But this is his first overbet. And weaker players just tend to have the hand. And like weaker players can check ace king 2 times also in some crazy scenarios where they do it. Or like top set. So I'm not gonna call call the guy until I know more. And he's like looking really passive and yep. Okay, so the guy floated also with queen jack off, which is some we can say queen jack off is fold pre, and yep, on the flop not looking great. Our hand is a 4-bet also, and yeah, let's see versus the hero. I will call now. It's mixing a 4-bet also, and we folded king queen on the button. That's not great. Folding a flop even on 1/3 with our king 9. King 10 I would call. King 9 is a fold on the flop. Without the hearts, king 9 of hearts is floating. King 10, king 9 of spades is actually going to be folding. Uh, I would also be streaming, guys, and yeah, I plan to make a little more poker content because now I did my personal business was in Germany. I had some personal stuff to take care, so I wasn't. I didn't have time for streaming. I didn't have time for a lot of things, but now I'm back home, and yeah, um, I'm like really eager to be playing. I feel really good. I'm gonna go like 2/3 on 10 deuce 3, which is really hard board to be hit. There's no 2 pairs. We block again like a king 10 and a queen 10, which is nice. On the turn, we can bet 1/3, which I think it's good, or we can check and bet 1/3. We still want to bet hands like jacks, like queens, like good 10x with the blocker. So definitely, yeah, we're just gonna be betting. People just play the when the flush hits, they just play it wrong, And that's why I put it on the HUD always, just to recognize this type of players, how they play when flush hits and flush misses, because from that you see their understanding when the because it's unique spot in poker when the flush hits. Some people will just go check range because they'll just, I mean, usually when flush hits it's like 10 to 15% range at most, and it's not that big. It's just on some spots you do a lot of checking basically because your range, not because just the flush hits, because just about range versus range interaction of the ranges, and that's the reason why you turn down the frequency of bet. I apologize, but yeah, people, a lot of players, especially weaker players, they just overestimate a flush, and when the flush hits, they immediately just go into the check. My mouth's a little dry from talking and from sweating from these hands where we looked as fools. But yeah, it happens, guys. It happens. We played in this style. That is our style of game. We are always in many close spots. We're trying to get something out of it. So yep, it's just gonna happen. It's just gonna be happening. Here, I think classic spot for the block on the river. We still get value from a lot of worst hands, and just classic spot to be doing it. Actually, a lot of checking is going on here. I'm gonna be calling because of the weaker player on the big blind. I'm mixing 3-bet and calls. I'm gonna go with bigger size here. And on the turn, actually, we're gonna be betting. And I think half pot is the best size in this spot. 1/3 is too little for me because our king queen and ace king want to bet bigger actually. And we're gonna do a lot of checking on the flop. Yes, my style of play is always to attack, and uh, that's gonna be problematic sometimes because, yep, you're gonna just run into stuff like this. But I mean, yep, usually I always have some presumptions where I do something, and I did try to explain you why, but this time just didn't work. It was, but you know, when you think closely, if I had time to think like 2 minutes, then maybe I could like get to the conclusion there about what happened. But yeah, I didn't think because from that hand, for example, where we shout with our straight and where we wanted to fold him out of the chop, I just feel like yeah, I just feel I didn't think through that he actually on that run out he would be afraid that I don't have much of the strays. That's why he, because always you see that he's or betting the turn with the flush draw. He every while you hand, no matter what the range composition is, he's gonna be over betting. So yeah, but still for me the worst hand of all, the worst hand for me, and this is the spot where we actually have to turn the 5x into bluff. He's gonna hit this 7, 8, 8, 9 quite often. King is there, which is gonna be easy, really betting like hand like an ace 4, like an ace 10. So yep, we're just gonna be betting it. This size, like if I have like ace 9 or ace 10, this size is nice. We just have to be folding. But yeah, I think the spot is really, really good to be turning into bluff. Check calling. He attacks our check check quite heavily, from what I notice. Check check bet turn usually. Okay, it is on the bluffier side, but let's see after betting turn the overbet. Usually it's very heavy, but I feel like he's like actually really betting a two pair there, like a hand like or hand like a pocket trees. He can also do it with hand like a king 10 of clubs with a club, not the king, not the flush, with actually king 10, king x, and a flush, and he can overbet the river. And for that, I would need to see if he's actually checking back a lot of top pairs. And you can see here that 77% of hands are checking, and we have some top pair weak kicker there. We'll be following there. 3 7 10 board were really, and this is really nice, really nice blockers. We block king 10 of hearts and ace 10, so really nice blockers. We don't block diamonds, so actually it's really nice spot. And this looks like an ace 10 to me, that he's actually repping. Actually, we are calling sometimes with the ace king, but I think it prefers a diamond, king of diamonds to have, from what I remember from Solver. And actually, he should be defending with calling. Just think about this spot, how this spot is great when you have pocket jacks there. It's like pretty good. Ace king is also really nice bluff that we're gonna have. And these suits that we have is like amazing ones. Um, not blocking diamonds and blocking the king 10 and ace 10 of hearts. And we also block the ace 7 of spades, so really nice spot to be in. And actually, when we bet like this and he shows, he's gonna have troubles. He's gonna have troubles because actually, I like our hands like jacks, queens, and kings. Just can't wait to get that shove. You immediately get stacks, and that's what is the goal of the size on the flop, to get immediately stacks in. And you're actually doing that every time with a big size when the guy is just jamming the flop, and he's never jamming with sets. So he reps like an ace 10 there basically, and he can have some jacks if he's not forbetting them. But this guy for sure does. So yep, GTO has some 30% of jacks. It was small blind versus it was big blind versus button, I think, or cut off. It was button. Yeah, he still has some 30% of jacks. If the GTO in the GTO world, but actually people are four betting jacks in that spot quite often. And this guy has, let's see, a four bet range. I think four bet range. Yeah, button versus small blind, 6% versus big blind. Tens are there. Yeah, jacks are definitely there then. So he doesn't have tens or jacks. So actually, yep, I would say he basically reps ace 10. Let me see if he's calling ace 10 off. I probably does, actually. Okay. Now when I think more, I think our hand looks like a Soko, because ace 10 off is 4-betted really quite much. Now if he's like, if he's jamming jack 10, queen 10, then it's not good, which he's raising in position 20% can happen. It can happen, guys. So yeah, checking ace 10 and checking back queen 4. So definitely it can happen, but queen 4 we're going to be calling. Let's go for the bigger size, like a hand like an ace deuce that we check behind and check the flop with it. And now we're just gonna use the 10x size against the block bet. There are a lot of bluffs savable here, so a lot of straights blockers and flush blockers we can turn into bluffs. So queen 10 is definitely good to be raising with. King jack 4, I'm just gonna start with 1/3. Okay, and I'm gonna definitely go 1/3 again on turn, which I think it allows me to be betting hand like a queen jack with a queen of hearts, with a hand for value and protection, hand like a king 10. And now I'm gonna go with an orbit on the river, which I think is good. After calling turn out of position, he actually calls an orbit really frequently, and he calls with the top weak pairs. So I'm gonna be greedy, guys, but I think we can be greedy, and we're gonna go like this. I think this is the perfect guy to be greedy against. He's sticky after calling turn against an orbit. He likes to call it with the top pair weak kicker. We have really a lot of bluffs, all the queen 10, all the ace 10, all the ace 6 of hearts. So definitely we bet 1/3 on the turn because of that reason, yeah. And he was in the tank for a longer time, so that's great. And he's immediately tributing us. Let's see, cutoff versus around for 13% against us. Fortunately, we don't have a situation to be playing it. We got called for bet. Not our board, even if we did call the 3-bet. Not our board. It is board of the 3-better. So not ours. And in this spot is a board of the 4-better actually. It's really nice when you do 1/3 flop and 1/2 turn in these flush completed turns, because people actually do a lot of mistakes against 1/3 there. So they do a bunch of mistakes against that 1/3 size, and they actually go into the check raising a lot of or most of their flushes, and this is the recipe for suicide, because then actually we develop suddenly a overbet range on the river, and I can just go 3x like I did now. So definitely a great spot. People are not responding good enough on that size. Um, we can check raise. We can call. I think both options are okay. He is using polarized big blind strategy. That indicates a lot of suited trash hands, like do 7, which shouldn't be there. Small pocket pairs okay, 7-8 standard, so this everything else is standard. But he's gonna have usually hands like also king x hands, like a king 6, king 7, king 8. And I think this guy would bluff against us when we just calling there, so we have the clear call. And actually this river is favor raising us 4s and 5s actually, and actually we have the backdoor hands there. Actually I'm gonna be donk shoving the river. We have 4s actually always. Actually I'm gonna shove river. And we're just gonna be called like that. And that hand would be checked behind. Because this is our picture. This is our, like, people just see us like that and they're just gonna be calling us really lightly. We're gonna call kings. We actually get the hands now, which is nice. And whenever I get hands, I'm always paying my value hands, because we do a lot of bluffing and that pays out for us. You see, this hand will be always checking on the river, and we just immediately get snapped, which I think is great. On the river, now we're gonna turn some hands into bluff. We have hands like an ace 8, 10 suited, which I think it's fine to turn into bluff. Hands like a 6, 7 suited, hands like pocket sixes, definitely worth turning into bluff. All of these hands are now like really good bluff candidates. for us, and we need to think about which size our range wants to be betting, and I think 2/3 is the reason. We still have pocket nines there, some pocket eights, alongside with bluffs. So yeah, just think what size we want to use, and our range think 2/3 size is the key. Okay, bad turn, bad turn. But still, I need to say we did get real unlucky in some spots when we were bluffing. Really unlucky. And I feel that our bluffs today were really good. Uh, Here, actually, we don't want to be blocking it. Actually, we are just want to be betting 2/3 because we are not really betting. With the block, we can bet 7x because he can easily have him like an 8-9. So yep, we just can't be doing that. Call for a bet. Our hand is a clear bet on the river with a bigger size. He's gonna have this like 8x and 9s and 10s real frequently. So yep. Against these positions, call for bet. We see a tens we have. I mean, I'm gonna call this guy actually because we saw that he did lost the pot, and this guy plays emotionally from what I have on him. So definitely, yep. He just plays emotionally, and he suddenly starts three betting immediately next hand, and yep, he's just gonna be calling. And we're gonna go with a small size. And usually, from what I know, his check ranges are bad. We're gonna be betting here. 1/4 is the size. We're of course always calling a shove, and you can expect like this to be happening. So yeah, the guy is like really emotional. So definitely, I don't just want to understand the check shove on the turn, but okay, he's blocking basically nothing. Ace high bluffs, but yeah, okay. Blocking fives doesn't have any merit because we three betted middle position. We don't have pocket fives. I mean, he's basically trying to fold outside of the nines and tens, but we're checking them behind quite often. Without the heart, we're folding there. He can bet here on the turn with hands like a queens and bet it 1/3. So usually when it's like this, he should be having a lot of checking on the turn. But he can bet hand like an ace queen, ace king with heart, and he is actually not that aggressive on turns. So yep. Against this guy, I'm folding. I mark him as a nit. He's tributing small blind versus early 0%. Usually the hand that I'm actually always calling, I'm gonna be folding. Yeah, but he's like check raise. I mean, it's not a spot for a check raise. I immediately felt that because if you're having a kings, why would you check raise now? I mean, you want to be bluffing ace king, you want to be bluffing hand like a queen, king, jack of clubs. So there's not like many spots to be. I actually felt that he has some like ace ten of hearts that's gonna play like this, but ace five, I think it's just spirit play. That's why I called with the ace queen. Usually ace queen is a fold in these positions, but the guy just immediately when he lost this spot where we joined the jack 8, he immediately three bet the hand and lost it there, and he then immediately four bet us in this spot. So that's always the sign when somebody's playing emotionally, and yeah, I think it's fine. Ace jack, I don't think is a bluff on the river. We have far more bluffs, and when the guy bet check bets with this size, he's usually what he's repping, he's always having, and he's repping ahead like nines through tens that should always bet the turn. But yep, he's a weaker player. he can just check it. We're gonna do check on this board. 6, 7, 8. Pretty strong boards for the actually we should be checking the turn quite a lot also. Just based on our range, we actually are betting with tens on the flop, and with bluffs with our tens we're going to be bluffing on the flop, so we actually don't have it that much in the range. And we'll be just jamming. And I'm also not sure what he reps here. What hand is checking behind the flop and betting the turn and river now. He's like repping straight, and he's mainly bluffing with the flush draw because the board is so strong for his range. He's gonna bluff with all the flush draws on the flop. On the river, with the straight draw also. So yep, he's not repping that much, I would say. Maybe it's better that I just call to see his hand. But yeah, when we are good, I jammed it. Maybe occasionally he can have like hand like a two pair that hit the turn and really bet the river against us. We're gonna call. I'm gonna raise the flop, guys. And I'm just gonna actually jam the flop. And we just get it. We just run into it now, but yep. We ran into it, but still no problems. He was 3-betting every hand after he lost, so yep. Usually we want to call this hand always, but when somebody's playing like this, he knows we're gonna ISO this player really wide, and he lost like every pot, so he's gonna turn out with like, if his range standard is like 20%, 22, he's gonna turn out with like here with more than 30. So yep, I'm just fine with jamming the flop. And against him, I would just jam with sets and everything basically. My flush draw sets, I'm just gonna be jamming. I wouldn't call when somebody is like in this state, when he lost like bunch of pots and got shoved on, and yeah, I would just shove the flop. And when I do that a lot, just people just start calling with like ace queen there. Pretty interesting session, guys. Pretty interesting, actually. Pretty interesting. 2 hours. Really interesting. A lot of cool hands. I'm gonna show, like I always show everything. So in the hands that I looked like a fool, I explain you why I looked like a fool. I'm gonna just leave it because yeah, people make mistakes. Some of the hands were mistakes, some of the hands were good presumptions, didn't go our way. But yeah, you make mistakes and that's the game. You learn from the mistakes and that's it. So I always show everything. Sometimes you're a fool. Yeah, it's just like that. It's just how the game is. We're gonna go slightly bigger because we're a little deeper. And this is 5 max, so yep. Say pretty normal range. Around pretty normal range that he did calling a 3-bet. 7-8. It's always a lot of interesting hand when I play, because there will always be some dynamics at the table. So be sure to follow me on streams so we can talk in live, talk about hands, talk about strategy. Big size here with our 910. We have the really good blockers, so yep. When I have 910 here, I'm just using always the size I use with my 9s and 10s, and my 9s and 10s really want to be bet big. And actually on this type of boards you always want to just have a big size. You're never going 1/3 ever here, so yeah, basically 82% plus is the only size you're going to use on this type of the boards. We're going to be folding here. Yeah. We are 2 hours. I think I'm going to just wrap it up. uh, be free to join me in streams next days, next few days. I'm going to try to be regular just so we have dynamics. Uh, Also, drop by to my Discord. On the Discord, we are always talking about the hands. There are a lot of good players, a lot of actually really good players there that play bigger limits, and they always are involved in the discussions about hands, about the strategy, and you can get some really nice information how to play some spots, some situations, some really unique spots like pool analysis and range research between pools. So you can have really good tips how to exploitively play against some of the pools that we played in, and that information can be really nice, so you can know in which spots actually you want to be over bluffing, which spots you want to be over folding. Definitely worth to check out because you're not gonna play same against everybody, and generally if you're not familiar with the pool, it's much better to have the good understanding about the pool tendencies than like this. Actually, this turn is really favors us really because we have 7-8, we have 8-10 suited, we have 9 jack here, and yeah, it's really good for us. So definitely we do want to be betting, and we want to be block betting the river quite often. We still get value from hand like a queen, king queen, ace queen, aces kings, most of his range actually. So I would do a lot of block betting even with the straight here. I think basically a lot of my range just want to be block betting on the river. Even my straights, because we are lacking bluffs, so putting like a big size doesn't have sense. Wherever you're using big size, you want to be bluffing a bunch, and actually there's no like our bluffs of 6x and jack x are mainly here. So yeah, when you don't have enough bluffs, it's just to use the normal size, or in this situation, it's even better to use just a block size, because just when you think our range of that hits that turn really nice, and our bluffs are gonna just consist of that jack a lot, and worst we can have is like also straight with 6. So or most of our range actually wants to be block betting, because when you lack bluffs, betting big not going to do anything, because when you do a lot of big size like orbit size, you can bluff a bunch. Check calling here, you can just bluff really a bunch in these spots, and you need to have a bunch of bluffs to be able to be balanced, because if you like bet pot, you need to have a half bluffs of your value combination. So you have like 30 value combinations in your bet pot, you need to have at least 15 bluffs, and sometimes it's not easy to find bluffs, and especially in this spot we would struggle to find bluffs, and if there's no many bluffs possibilities, then you need to turn the size down, because your range actually becomes really full of value and lacking bluffs, and people just can recognize that and can just really easily overfold to you. Few more hands, I'm going to wrap it up. I hope to see you on stream. It will be fun like this. Uh, I'm gonna try it always to raising donk in three-way with ace 5. I'm gonna always try to explain my thought process, even when I'm wrong. I'm gonna admit I'm wrong. I did mistake, and I'm gonna try to learn from it. Uh, you don't need to be afraid of mistakes. And like my bluffs are king queen actually, and ace king. So yep, I'm just gonna turn this into bluff. I'm not afraid of making mistakes, and I always learn from my mistakes the best. So I see you guys on the stream. I hope I'm gonna also put the stream video. Always I put the stream video immediately on my YouTube channel, and I'm trying to be more regular. I'm gonna try to do a more regular streams. We are also playing some 5 NL 500, and I'm gonna put also that. I mean, this year is the year. I'm gonna try to be the best I can be. So kings are our last hand for today, and yeah, I hope I see you soon, and good luck, guys, and thank you for watching the video.